Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Just making sure you can hear me. If you can hear me, type a yes in the comments and then let me know where you are joining in from. I'd love to know where you're joining from. My name is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Finance. We're an online financial education platform for women and our allies. And we're all about helping you get to the point where you're living life on your own terms and you have achieved financial wellness. So thank you for joining me live this afternoon. I do this live every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Although I'm going to be having a bit of a modified schedule the next few weeks, August into September, while I take a little break, but I'll let you guys know in advance when that'll be happening. But every Wednesday, this session goes live. And if you can't make it live at any time, the replay is always here at this very same link. So thank you so much for being here and for joining. There's a little lag with when I start and when you come on in. So I'm just going to have you tell me that you can hear me and also tell me where you're joining from. So I see a bunch of people coming in now. Hi, welcome. Hello, 13 Wolfies. Yes, another live stream. And today we're going to be talking about what I would do if I only had $100 right now. And I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss because, a lot of times people think that they don't have enough money or the money they have is too little to make an impact. And so I wanted to share what I would do if I had just a small amount of money, like $100. And perhaps you can use that as a way to get inspired to make moves with the money that you do have and think differently about the money that you do have. Hi, Danielle. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me, 13 Wolfies. Hello, Shonda from South Carolina. I'm glad you made it live this time. Hi, Joyce from Maryland. Hello, Philly. Kia, hi. Hello, Cassia. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Cassia from the UK. So before we dive into our topic, as you know, a few things. First of all, if you haven't already subscribed to the Career Finance newsletter, please do. We send this newsletter out on a weekly basis, and it is full of inspiration, motivation, tips, ideas to keep you focused on your finances. So if you're watching this on your TV screen, you can take a picture of that QR code. Otherwise, you can just go to clevergirlfinance.com/subscribe. You'll also get access to our Clever Girl Finance roadmap when you subscribe to our newsletter. So I'd love for you to join our community and be engaged with us that way. I'm really proud of the newsletter that we write. It's really awesome. So definitely check that out. And then if you haven't already checked out the Clever Girl Finance book series, my two recent books, Clever Girl Finance, Ditch Debt, Save Money, and Build Your Wealth, and also the workbook, my wealth plan workbook, definitely take a moment to check these out. You can find these books everywhere books are sold. They're available as ebooks, audiobooks, physical books, with the exception of the workbook. This is not an audiobook because it's a workbook. And obviously, you already know there are 5 books in this series right now. So definitely check these out. Stop by clevergirlfinance.com. We have over 30 plus free courses. We're actively updating our courses right now. We have over 40 plus free worksheets. So we have a ton of resources to support you on this journey to financial wellness. The books are available everywhere books are sold. And then our courses, you can just go to our website, clevergirlfinance.com, and check those out. And then people oftentimes will ask me about coaching. Do you do any one-on-one coaching? And the answer is yes. Myself, Yasmir, Anita on the team do mentorship and coaching for personal finance, investing, book writing, all that kind of stuff. So you can learn more about that at clevergirlfinance.com/coaching. I see a few more comments. Hello, Journeying with Abba. Hi from Ireland. Hi, Jazzy Jeff from Dallas. Hello, Lady Bell. Hi, Doy. That is my bestie joining from Nigeria. Hello, Toilenia. I hope I pronounced your name right. I will get to Q&A at the end of the session. So, okay. Oh, one more thing. Our savings challenge. So if you have been a part of this channel from beginning of the year, you know that, well, from April, I started this savings channel. And yeah, I got your name right. I started the savings challenge. Where I'm saving spare change of money that I don't spend in my budget. And my friend Nikki is doing this with me, and it's just been really exciting to see how this has grown. Given the fact that I could have spent this on anything and on whatever. So my update, and if you have updates and you've been doing this challenge with us as well, please share in the comments. I know some of you are doing a savings challenge alongside me as well. But my update is that right now now I have $1,800 in this binder. I have 40 more slots to go, and I just bought my second binder because I don't intend to, what do you call it, take the money out right away. So $1,800 is what I have saved since April. I started on April 15th. So really excited to see how far this has grown, and I'll keep you updated as I save more money. But if you're interested in joining this challenge, you can use a binder like this. You can use an envelope. You can open a dedicated bank account. You can set up what your goal is. So I'm saving spare change. You can make it a goal to save an emergency fund, a goal to save for a down payment, whatever you want it to be. But the goal or the intention I want this challenge to have going forward is just to save money and save as much money as possible. So if you guys want to participate, this binder is linked below. The stickers, which are faith-based motivational stickers, are also linked below, but you can really use anything to start this challenge. The goal is just to get started with saving. Hello, eMusic. Thank you, Doing. Okay, so let's get into our topic. So I have my notes on this side. So I wanted to use this session to play a little money scenario. So basically, if you just had $100 to work with right now, how would you use it to improve your finances? And so I was, like I mentioned, I want to break down what I would do with this $100, but I also want to hear what you would do as well, right? So what would you do with it? Share in the comments. And the reason, like I mentioned earlier, that I like this scenario, or, you know, this idea of what would I do with $100 is because it helps to take off the pressure, and it reminds us that we don't need to have a lot of money to make meaningful moves with our money. A lot of people are in the mindset that we need this big amount of money to have an impact on our finances, but that's not the case. Most times it requires you taking small steps and focused intention over time. And that's what $100 can do for you. So I'm going to walk you through a few options based on different situations about what I would do with $100. But while I'm at it, I'd love for you to share in the comments what you would be doing with your $100. And I also want to highlight very important, one thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about small amounts of money. Is that $100 may not feel like a lot of money, but it is very powerful, especially when used intentionally, right? That $100 could be the start of a new habit. It could be the beginning of a mindset shift. It could be the beginning of establishing new systems for your finances, or it could even help you make momentum towards a goal where you have been feeling stuck. So don't underestimate these small amounts. Small money moves can compound into huge, big money moves. So I'm going to start going over what I would do if I had $100. And in the comments, tell me what you would do if you only had $100. So number one, if I only had $100 and I didn't have an emergency fund, the first thing I would do is I would take that entire $100 and I would put it in a high yield savings account. And I would name it something cool. I'll call it my peace fund, or my future self fund, or my I'm so blessed fund, or my abundance fund. And just opening the account, the action of opening that emergency fund, even if you don't have any money to put in it, can help you create peace of mind. And then putting in that $100 can help you showcase to yourself that what I can make progress, and $100 is a good starting point. And $100 might be a small amount, but when it comes to an emergency situation, $100 can actually do a few things for you. It can put food on the table for you and your family. It can help you pay a small bill. It can help you put a small deposit on something. It can help you put gas in your car. So if I only had $100 and I didn't have an emergency fund, I would use that $100 as the basis of my emergency fund. Shonda, you said you would use your $100 to split between high yield savings and investing. That's a great idea. Okay, please share in the comments what you would do if you only had $100. And so that's the first thing I would do. If I didn't have an emergency fund, I would do that. The second thing I thought about when it comes to just having that $100, if I only had $100 and I had credit card debt, this is what I do. I would take that $100 and use it as a targeted extra payment to my debt that had the smallest balance. So that's the snowball method, where you prioritize your debts in order of smallest to highest balance. So I'll put the $100 to my debt with the smallest balance, or I'll put the debt do put the $100 to my debt with the highest interest rate. So that's the avalanche method, where you prioritize your debt by highest to lowest interest rates, and you pay as much as possible to your highest interest rate debt. The difference between the two, they both work, but the difference between the two is with the snowball method, because you're going from smallest debt to largest debt, you have quicker wins and you pay off your smallest debts faster. Whereas with the avalanche method, you are able to save more money because you're getting ahead of interest, because you're attacking your highest interest rate debt first. So I'd put that money towards one of the debts on my queue, either my snowball method or my avalanche method. And $100, depending on how much credit card debt somebody has, is not going to pay off everything, but it will help reduce interest in the future that's compounded the next week, the next month, even if it's just by a little bit of money. And just putting that extra payments help extra dollar as an extra, just putting that extra $100 as an extra payment on my debt is going to help me build momentum. And even that small decrease in the debt that I owe can even give me a boost to my credit card. So if I had credit card debt, I would use my $100 as an extra payment. Danielle, you said you would put it in your savings and in your Roth. That's also a great idea. Hi, Amira. Thanks for joining. Okay. So the other thing I thought about, number 3, would be if I only had $100 and I wanted to start investing. So a few of you have mentioned that you would put it towards investing. Well, here is what I would do. I would open a Roth IRA if I didn't already have one, or I would open a brokerage account with one of the platforms, Fidelity, Schwab, or one of the investing apps that are reputable. And I would buy an index fund or an ETF for broad diversification. And I may not know a lot about investing. I may not have a ton of money to invest, but just taking that action to invest in my future self is going to empower me. And then based on that little momentum, I would start to learn about investing and continue doing, right? So I would pick up an investing book, Grow Your Money, and I'd start learning about investing. You don't need to know everything about investing to start building wealth. But if you have a little bit of money and you've been hesitant about investing because you don't think it's enough, I promise you, you can open an account and make your first investment and feel empowered and start to get motivation by seeing the fact that, wow, I did this. And just put your money in a simple index fund, a total stock market index fund or ETF that has broad diversification across different asset classes, across the entire stock market, so that you know that, well, I've invested my $100 and I'm well diversified. By the way, the next live I'm going to do is going to be focused on investing. So I wanted to talk about how to research investments and how to know about the index funds, how to know what's in the index funds and ETFs you're investing in and what all of that means. So we're going to talk about in the next live. So that's what I would do if I had $100 and I wanted to start investing. What else would you guys do? Share in the comments. I want to know. Okay, so the next thing I would do if I only had $100, the next scenario, if I only had $100 and I wanted to, I was struggling with overspending or budgeting, right? So I only have $100, but I'm overspending. I'm struggling to budget. Let me put this on the screen here. What would I do? So I would take my $100 and I would put it in, if I'm overspending, I'm just going to put this on the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. If you're watching this as a replay, give me a second here. Oh, I can't type. Okay. So if I only had the $100 and I was struggling with overspending, I would put my $100 in an envelope, or I'd put it in my bank account linked to my debit card. And I would use that $100 for the categories that typically trip me up. So for those categories that trigger me to overspend. So for example, and this is a true story, I tend to overspend on my groceries. You may be overspending on eating out. You may be overspending on Target runs, Walmart runs, TikTok shop, Instagram shopping. I would set that $100 aside for those categories where I know that I'm prone to overspending. And the typical financial advice would be, well, stop overspending. But we all know that's not realistic. We're going to get into a moment where we feel impulse. we feel emotional, we feel stressed, we actually need the item and we need to spend beyond our budget. So having that buffer can be helpful. And it also helps you set a boundary. Like my boundary to overspend or go beyond my budget at this point is only $100. So I will stop and think about how I'm going to spend that $100. And this is basically a way for you to train your brain, right, to think through your spending and not just judge or shame yourself because you are overspending. Right. So I get an envelope, put the money in it, and use it as a boundary and a buffer for those categories where I sometimes struggle with overspending. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Hi, Tina. Amira, you said you would put $100 for your snow tires to be changed over from your summer tires. That's smart. So you'd put your $100 in your sinking fund. Now you said you would put $50 into your emergency fund, 25 into your grocery envelope, and 25 kid envelope because kids always need something. That is so true, and that's smart planning. So that, again, that's you, emergency savings and your sinking fund, and then your budget, the grocery money, right? So 50 to your emergency savings, 25 to your budget, and then 25 to a sinking fund for your kids. Hi, Deborah from New Jersey. Doing, you said you're more likely to save it and maybe invest it in a money market fund. Okay, so let me talk about the other scenarios that I had as well. So I also said, okay, what would I do if I only had $100, but I wanted to start a side hustle? Side hustle is something that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to think about. I've been thinking about it, but I've been wanting to execute. What would I do? I put down here that I would use my $100 to start to buy the tools, the templates, or the resources I needed to launch my side hustle. So for example, let's say I need to start a website or some social media stuff or like advertising for my product or service. I would get a Canva subscription so I can design my things there. If I needed any digital product templates, I would use my $100 for that. If I was doing like a physical product business like baking or crafting or something like that, I would use my $100 towards supplies for my business. So for example, $100 can buy me enough ingredients to make a cake or a tray of cupcakes or something that I can sell and get a profit from and put it back into my business. $100 for a side hustle can go far if you are strategic. And I always tell people when you're starting a business, you want to focus on those core essentials. You don't need paintings. You don't need fancy pens. You don't need notebooks. You don't need all this stuff. Use what you already have. You have a notebook in a cupboard somewhere that's dusty. Use that to write your business plan. Use your smartphone notes app. Use your computer. And then focus the money you have on what you need. So Canva is a tool that pretty much any business can use to create designs that if you were to pay somebody would cost you a ton of money. And I don't think the subscription for Canva is maybe like $20, $15, and that's for 1 month. So that's a whole month of time that you can work on creating stuff to promote your business, to lay out your products and services, and so much more that you can do with that app. So that's just an example. So if I was starting a side hustle and I only had $100, I'll put the money to tools, the resources, what I needed to launch in a lean way on my specific budget. Tina, you said a side hustle is a good idea. Yeah, so it's all about getting creative. We think that $100 is not a lot of money, but it can go quickly. So yesterday, I took my kids to buy ice cream. And I spent $20. And if I did that every day this week, which I won't, but if I did that every day this week, that's pretty much $100. But think about all the things I've just said as to how I could use $100, different scenarios to pay down debt, to start an emergency fund, to start investing, to start a side hustle, to use it as a buffer if I'm overspending. There's so many ideas. So don't minimize the small amounts of money you have because they are powerful. So I have a couple more scenarios here. So what would I do? Let's say I'm going through a lot of mental stress. I'm just stressed. I am financially stressed. I'm feeling a lot of stress and overwhelm in my life right now, and I only have $100. What would I do with it? Right? I would take that $100 and put it towards something that supports my emotional and my mental clarity. I would use it to pay for a therapy session. A lot of therapy sessions are between $50 and $100, or a copay, which is between like $20 to $50, depending on if you have it covered under insurance at your workplace. I would use it for a financial coaching session. There are a lot of $99, $59 financial coaching sessions from reputable platforms, including ours. I would use it to get a massage. I would use it to do a me day, take myself out to eat to minimize my mental stress, my mental burden. And the reason why I put this in there is because sometimes the best money move in a moment is to take care of yourself. Because if you are not mentally well, if you're not physically well, nothing else works. Like if you don't work, none of your plans work. So I'll use that money to take care of me. So those are the different options that I came up with. Like I mentioned earlier, to put towards your emergency savings, towards credit card debt, towards starting to invest, towards a buffer if you're overspending, towards starting a side hustle, towards taking care of your mental and emotional health. I see a couple others here. C-SPAN, you said you're going to pay $100 extra to your principal on your mortgage. Yes, for the next 6 months. I love that. Hi, S. Hammond. Tracy Still Jean, you said you're going to use $100 to start a side hustle and then take the rest and start paying off my student loans. I love that. So yes, if you have $100 to spare in your budget every month, what would you do with it? If you had $100 just right now, this one instance, what would you do with it, right? And so start thinking about it that way. No amount of money is too small. Like if I see a penny on the floor, I pick it up. Most people walk by, kick it away, look at it because like, oh, a penny is worthless. A penny is not worthless. You add up those pennies, you get $1. You add up those dollars, you get 10. You add up those $10 bills, you get 100. Listen, I sent this to my friend Nikki yesterday because we always update each other. And I was like, can you imagine that there's $1,800 in this binder? Like this is, I said last week to you guys, Sephora, ice cream, Panera, blah, 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 whatever, going out to eat, kids, Target, Walmart. This is $1,800 that could be nothing right now. So the small amounts, they do matter. They do matter. And this entire exercise, this entire live is just a reminder that intentionality means more than the actual amount. Setting the intention is so much powerful than worrying about the small amounts. When you have clarity about what you want to do with your small amounts, it helps you take action, and that action equals to results. And you don't have to wait until you have a ton of money to do something meaningful with your money. I just gave you a bunch of meaningful scenarios. You guys just shared a bunch of meaningful scenarios in the comments. So your $100, your $50, your $25 can be powerful. They can add up to big money moves, but you have to set the intention and you have to take action. So, 13 Wolfies, you said this week you found 2 pennies in the supermarket on the floor and you inspired me just to take it. I pick it up. If nobody wants the money, I'm going to take the money. It's as simple as that. Okay, so you guys know that I love to do the affirmations. I love for us to affirm ourselves. So we're going to do that really quickly. You can say this with me. You can type it on the screen. But I want us to affirm ourselves, especially with every decision that we're taking around our money, especially as you join every week to do these lives. We want to empower ourselves, not just with the lessons, but also emotionally and mentally so that we can take those actions in confidence. So the first affirmation is every dollar I manage well moves me closer to financial peace. Every dollar, in fact, every penny I manage well moves me closer to financial peace. The second affirmation is I trust myself to make money moves that honor my future. Putting that money towards your debt, putting that money towards investing, putting that money towards taking care of yourself, a therapy session, whatever. That money, putting that money towards something in an intentional, focused way is you honoring yourself, right? Honoring your future self. So that's really important. And then the final affirmation is small, intentional steps build big results. That money adds up. It adds up. Your progress will add up over time. So those are the affirmations I wanted to share with you. So take 5 minutes after this live and ask yourself, what is the next small intentional move I can make with whatever amount of money I have? Whether it's $100, whether it is $10, what intentional move can I take with this money, right, to take action today? So for me, my intentional move was yesterday. I went to the ATM and I took out $50 to put in this binder. I could have spent that $50 on anything, right? I have an Amazon cart full of junk. But I was like, no, girl, you are going to save. That is an intentional move. So think about it and decide what you would do. And I'm just going to go back and answer the question I saw from Toylena about annuities versus Roth. So, annuities can be very complex and be very confusing. And so, if you are not familiar with that product, you don't understand exactly how it works, what the returns are going to be, what your fee is going to be, I would go with a simple Roth. And in fact, I consider like your traditional Roth IRA, your traditional IRA, your Roth IRA, your 401k. I consider those your foundational investments. You want to have those in place first because of the tax savings benefits, the tax advantage benefits there, and max those out before you start adding on other types of products. And the other types of products you add, be very careful and make sure that you understand the fees and the costs. There are some annuities out there that are good products. There are some that are just very confusing, very expensive, and they just don't earn you as much as you think that they will, depending on how they're sold to you. So be very mindful of that. Okay, so that is everything I had to cover. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't already. Check it out, clevergirlfinance.com/subscribe. It goes out every week. Check out the Clever Girl Finance books everywhere books are sold. And if you are wanting to get support with your financial goals, with improving your financial wellness, with learning about investing, definitely check out our coaching offerings at clevergirlfinance.com/coaching. Amir already said you find really reading and keeping all my receipts for financial record keeping is helpful. Yes, that can be very helpful. You want to read all of those receipts. You want to make sure that you understand where you've put your money. Your investment summaries, read them, or your investment statements, read them and understand them. Blue Butterfly, you said you love the newsletter, very informative. Thank you for subscribing and for checking out our newsletter. We're really proud of it. So that's my topic for this week. And like I said, next week, or if I don't do one next week, the following week, I would love to talk about researching investments and just understanding, what do you have in your 401k? What do you have in your brokerage account? Do you really know what you are invested in? I want to talk about how to look up your investments and have a sense of understanding about them so you can build confidence around investing. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys are enjoying the summer. I appreciate you. If you're watching this as a replay, share your savings update in the comments below. And I will talk to you all next week. Thank you for being here, everyone. Bye.